Hello there, students. Today we're going to continue on with our probability unit, making predictions. So first, a little background for you. You actually use this, what you're about to see in this video, all the time, or you hear about it all the time. And predictions using probability occur all the time, as I just said. Anytime you hear a poll, so like a political poll or a survey, probability is being used. And in particular, predictions are being made. A sample has been taken and then has been multiplied to reach the total number. These predictions are the best way to guess without sampling an entire group. Obviously, these predictions are merely a guess and can be wrong, but based on the math are what should happen. So we had I guess it's about 15 months ago now, but we had an election not that long ago, and you heard the state polls, the surveys, the nationwide surveys. Well, they don't survey every person in the entire state or region. What they do is they sample a small group and then multiply that number to meet the entire population. So when you hear a poll of President Trump has 42% approval rating, that's meaning they're not questioning every voter in the United States. They're questioning a small group of people, and then that group of people is then multiplied to meet the entire population. So here's a guided example. So here we are. We have candidates for mayor, and there are their vote totals on the right. And I give you the total. I say it's a sample of 300 voters. And now my question to you in the bottom left-hand corner is simple. If there are 1,200 voters in town, predict how many votes Vincent Steiner will receive. So here's how you solve that. I like to set up a 2x2. Or a ratio table, whichever you prefer to call it. And on the left-hand side you have the original, and on the right-hand side you have the prediction. And as usual with fractions, the part goes over the total. So in this case, I'm looking at Vincent Steiner, and he, of the 300 voters that were surveyed, he got 52 of those voters to say that they preferred Vincent Steiner for mayor. So the part is going to be 52. And the total is going to be 300, meaning Vincent Steiner will receive the votes of 52 of the 300 voters that were sampled. So I'm going to put 300, because that's the total number of voters sampled, and then 1,200 is going to be the grand total, or the prediction one we're going to make. We're predicting for 1,200. And you'll note, to go from 300 to 1,200, the numbers became larger. And you try to find a correlation then. You know you're going to multiply because the number got larger. And hopefully you find an easy correlation. And I did. 300 times 4 is 1,200. So I am also going to multiply the numerator by 4. And of course 52 was the part because 52 voters said they wanted to go for Vincent Steiner. So much like the bottom or the denominators we multiplied by 4, we're going to multiply the numerators or the top by 4. So I do some side math. I do 52 times 4, and that is 208. So we can safely predict that if we polled or sampled or surveyed all 1,200 voters in the town, that 208 of those voters would prefer Vincent Steiner. And if we wanted to make that into decimals or percents, all we would have to do is divide them. Divide 208 divided by 1,200. And we could do that for Savage, Hall, Hogan, Nash, Guerrero, Malenko, all of them. We would just have to multiply by 4, and then you'd get the prediction of how many would equal 1,200. And if it's a good sample, after you multiply all these, it will add up to 1,200. Sometimes when you see polls on TV or on the Fox News, the CNN, or sites like that, or news stations or newspapers like that, sometimes they don't always add up to the number it should. So you do find errors. Let's try it. It's your turn. Let's try it out. Let's try our best here. This is, of course, theoretical. I did not actually do this. I observed patrons ordering blizzards from Dairy Queen and observed the following. So I was watching what people ordered for blizzards, and 20 chose Snickers, 1 chose Nerds, and doing my research, I found out that the Nerds Blizzard was discontinued in 2014. I can remember having a few of those going up. It's very tasty. I suggest trying that sometime. Mix Nerds in with a Blizzard. You'll thank me. Cookie Dough, 36, Butterfinger, 18, Oreo, 43, Heath, 19, and M&M, 13. So that's the information I got. So if 750 patrons ordered blizzards that day, predict how many would order each type. All right, so once again, before we go to that, try to set it up like the last one, on the last page with the 2x2s. It's going to be a lot of work, but let's go through it together and we'll see how you do. All right, let's see. So I set up my 2x2. Original on the left, prediction on the right. And I'm going to start with Snickers. But before that, I need to figure out how many total, because you want to get that total people I saw order blizzards. So I add up all the patrons that I saw and all the blizzards, and I got 150. I'm predicting for 750. So I have the totals down, and now I have to see, well, 150 to 750. I know the numbers are getting larger, so I'm going to multiply. But is there an easy way to go from 150 to 750? Well, let's count by 150. 150, 300, 450, 600, 750. Oh, it's times 5. So I put times 5 there, and I will also put times 5 on top eventually. So now, before we get to Snickers, I'm going to use this information. This is the part. So I'm not going to plug in all 7 blizzards here for original, but just know that these right here, these numbers, those are the original numbers. And I need to multiply those by 5 to safely predict how many patrons would order that blizzard if we sampled 750. So Snickers is 20. 20 times 5 is 100. Hopefully you got 100. Nerds had 1. And then, I don't know, obviously you'd have to do a special order now. You'd have to maybe bring your own nerds in and pay off the guy behind the counter to make the blizzards for you. I don't know. But 1 times 5 is 5. I can't say enough. Try a Nerds blizzard. Even if you don't like Nerds. I'm not a big fan of Nerds. But wow, it was a very good blizzard. Cookie dough. So we put in cookie dough for the original. 36 would go here. You got to multiply it by 5. 36 times 5 is 180. 18 would go here. 18 times 5 is 90. Moving right along to Oreo. 43 times 5, 215. Heath, 95. And M&M, 65. And to check your math, you would add up and find the sum of all these new numbers, and it should add up to 750, and it does. So once again, students, you set up the 2x2, original on the left, prediction on the right, totals on the bottom, parts on the top, and then you find the correlation, and you multiply. Let's try another one. Once again, a theoretical survey. I surveyed people who entered the mall about their favorite season. The results are below. Spring, 26, summer, 21, winter, 20, fall, 33. If a total of 800 people were surveyed that day, predict how many would select each season. All right, so I'm going to let you do this one completely on your own. Let's see how you do. Pause the tape and give it a try. All right, so the first thing, of course, you need to do is set up that 2x2. Original on the left, prediction on the right. Find your totals first. You know on the prediction side you're predicting for 800. So we're going to put an 800 right here. But now what about the total for the original side? Oh, they don't give it to me. They don't give it to me. Yes, they do. You add them up. 26 plus 21, 47. 47 plus 20, 67. 67 plus 33, an even 100. That should make it easy. We're predicting for 800. Now you find the correlation between 100 and 800. The numbers become larger from left to right, so we know we're going to multiply. And what are we going to multiply by? We're going to multiply by 8. We're multiplying by 8. And once again, the part will be the votes for each season that I obtained of the 100 I surveyed. So, we put in 26. You multiply it by 8, because whatever you do on the bottom, you do on the top as well. 26 times 8 is 208. 21 times 8 is 168. 20 times 8 is 160. 33 times 8 is 264. And if you add up all these, you should get a sum of 800. And we do. And there you go. Challenge time. This is going to be a tough one. A sample of 50 people were surveyed. I do give you the total, though. A sample of 50 people were surveyed at a stadium and asked about their opinion of the mayor's performance. The results were 36 were happy and 14 were unhappy. If I surveyed the town's 325 residents, Predict how many would be happy and unhappy with his performance, the mayor's performance. I will go through this one, but why don't you go ahead and try it on your own. You have the skills to do it. It's going to be challenging, though. All right, so you set up your 2x2s, and you probably learned right away that when you put your totals down, you got 50, because I surveyed 50 people, and there were 325 total in the prediction side. However, does 50 go into 325 easily? It doesn't. So you're going to have to do something here, and I'll show you. You have a couple options. So I put the part up. Of course, on the left-hand side, we have those happy with the mayor's performance. On the right-hand side, we have those unhappy with the mayor's performance. And you could do this, students, and this is maybe for another video. You could do something called cross multiply divide. You could multiply 36 by 325 and then divide by 50 to get the prediction, the missing box. Likewise, on the right-hand side, you could do 14 times 325, cross multiply, and then divide by 50 to get this box. I'm not going to do that this time, though. The first thing you would do if you go from going left to right, and there's no correlation, you'd go from up to down. And there's not a correlation from 36 to 50. There's not a correlation from 14 to 50. However, we can reduce this fraction here, 36 over 50. We can reduce this fraction over here, 14 by 50. I'm going to do that. I divide by 2, 18 over 25. I divide by 2, 7 over 25. And now you look for a correlation. I got one. 25 goes into 325 evenly. I multiply it by 13. So I would do that to the numerators as well. I would multiply the original by 13, and I'd get 234. So 234 of the 325 who were sampled, of the town's residents, are happy with the mayor's performance. Now, I could just do 325 minus 234 to get prediction, but I'm going to do it the other way. So you multiply it by 13 from left to right. You got to do the same on the top. 7 times 13 is 91. So 91 would be unhappy with the mayor's performance, and the 91 plus 234 is 325. Watch this a few times, making predictions. You're going to see it the rest of your life, especially election season, but you see it all the time. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.